A lineup that's way too unique. The Hogwarts Professor Ultimate Strength Ranking. Despite being just an educational institution, Hogwarts possesses enough military power to go toe-to-toe with the Ministry of Magic and the Death Eaters. That is because every single Hogwarts professor is a fierce warrior possessing abnormal strength. Today, I will explain the strength ranking of these incredibly individualistic and overwhelmingly powerful Hogwarts professors. By the way, the defense against the dark arts professors, who change constantly every year, are excluded. This entry only includes the regular faculty members. Rank 8, Divination, Professor Trelawney. Trelawney, the Divination Professor, is a descendant of a famous seer, but she has no visible talent herself and is pretty much incompetent as a professor. She is a spiritual middle-aged lady who pretends to see things when she sees nothing, and she gets along terribly with strict logicians like Hermione and Professor McGonagall. However, she possesses a special ability to unconsciously make a major prophecy that sways the fate of the wizarding world once every decade or so. Therefore, in terms of potential alone, she might be top class. Her actual combat ability is surprisingly high. In the final battle at Hogwarts, she achieved a feat by knocking out the werewolf Fenrir Greyback by launching crystal balls at him with magic. It is like swinging around a bowling ball, so it is an attack method with considerable lethality. Rank 7, Care of Magical Creatures, Hagrid. Hagrid ranks in its 7th place, beating Trelawney. Although Hagrid is not very good at magic, he is a half-giant, the child of a giant and a wizard, and possesses a cheat-like physique where basic spells and curses don't work on him. This constitution is simply monstrous. When multiple professional Aurors attacked Hagrid on Umbridge's orders, he bounced off all their curses, threw one Auror to knock him out, and then just ran away casually. It was a terrifying scene that shocked viewers into thinking, wait, isn't he unbeatable? Also, in the final battle at Hogwarts, he won by throwing Death Eaters around, so it is impossible to take Hagrid down unless you are a wizard with considerably powerful magic. Hagrid also maintains a family-cum-military force consisting of a hippogriff, giant spiders, a huge dog, and a giant younger brother. While they have the flaw that they tend to obliterate everyone regardless of friend or foe, if we count these members as Hagrid's fighting power, no one but Dumbledore could stop him. Rank 6, Herbology, Professor Sprout. She is the professor of herbology and the head of Hufflepuff House. She has been friends with Professor McGonagall since their student days, and they recognize each other's abilities, so it is thought that Professor Sprout also possesses considerable power. In fact, when the Basilisk went on a rampage and turned Hogwarts students into stone, she contributed greatly by creating the restorative draft. In the final battle at Hogwarts, she threw around murderous plants called Devil's Snare with her favorite student, Neville, exterminating the Death Eaters. While she can be a significant combat force depending on the magical plants, it seems she is basically not a heavy combat type. Rank 5, Matron, Madame Pomfrey. Madame Pomfrey surprisingly ranks higher than Professor Sprout. She is a wizard specializing in healing abilities in the Hogwarts Hospital Wing, and considering that she can completely cure anything short of a severe injury, she is a lady you would want one of in your party. While she would likely lose to the lower-ranked members in simple combat, she was evaluated for her rare ability field. Rank 4, Potions, Professor Slughorn. Professor Slughorn is the potions master, and also the head of Slytherin House. He is an old wizard who once taught Voldemort alongside Dumbledore, and he is a wizard acknowledged by both Dumbledore and Voldemort. He can easily create potions of incredibly high difficulty, and he can make Felix Felicis, which makes you incredibly lucky upon drinking. Therefore, considering the stat boosts from potions, he is considered to be quite strong if he gets serious. However, his pathetic human side stands out, such as telling Voldemort the secret of Horcruxes and trying to hide that he told him. Furthermore, since he got angry at Harry for trying to ask about it, he doesn't quite give off the vibe of a strong character. Still, in the final battle at Hogwarts, he fought Voldemort alongside Kingsley and Professor McGonagall, albeit in a 3-on-1 fight. Moreover, considering that those two are the absolute top adult wizards, it can be said that Slughorn is also a wizard of considerable skill. Rank 3, Potions, Professor Snape. Snape is the professor of potions and also the head of Slytherin House. Due to circumstances, he also serves as the defense against the dark arts professor and headmaster. His magical ability is tremendous, and when he entered Hogwarts, he already knew more dark arts than most upperclassmen. Furthermore, he invented powerful curses with maximum murderous intent like Sectum Sempra, and in fact, Harry won his duel with Malfoy thanks to this curse. In combat as well, when he fought Harry one-on-one, he showered him with curses showing an overwhelming difference in ability, and beat him up. Furthermore, right before the final battle at Hogwarts, he fought on equal terms with Professor McGonagall. In the movie's depiction, Snape deflects Professor McGonagall's spells to intentionally hit the Death Eaters. Furthermore, in the original book, it is shown that he was fighting while taking care not to hurt Professor McGonagall or his allies. Therefore, limited to simple combat capability, there is a possibility that he surpassed Professor McGonagall, who was past her prime. Rank 2, Charms, Professor Flitwick. Professor Flitwick, the Charms Master and head of Ravenclaw House, ranks in its second place. Professor Flitwick, who is said to have goblin blood, is quite small compared to humans. However, he possesses high magical power derived from goblins and a hidden fighting spirit, and boasts top-class strength even within the protagonist's faction. He is a kind person of character and adored by many students, but it seems he was a dueling champion in his youth, and his simple combat power is overwhelming. When he joined the fight where Snape and Professor McGonagall were clashing, he nearly captured Snape by manipulating a suit of armor. And Snape also stopped fighting and retreated the moment Professor Flitwick joined. In the final battle at Hogwarts, he faced Dolohov, who had defeated Moody, the strongest Auror in the past. Furthermore, Dolohov is also a dangerous individual who killed Lupin at Hogwarts. Considering that he won a one-on-one duel against such a formidable enemy, it can be said that he is one of the strongest men, excluding the Order of the Phoenix group. Rank 1, Transfiguration, Professor McGonagall. Professor McGonagall, the Transfiguration Professor and head of Gryffindor House, ranks in at first place. To begin with, Transfiguration was taught by Dumbledore before Professor McGonagall, and it is also a subject that seems to be standard for excellent professors to teach. On top of that, she is a genius who became an animagus during her student days, able to transform into a cat at will. She was also naturally a prefect, had top scores in her final exams, and is a hyper-elite who graduated as head girl. Furthermore, she then joined the Ministry of Magic and worked in the elite Department of Magical Law Enforcement. However, she changed jobs to become a Hogwarts professor for the incredibly cool reason that she didn't get along with her colleagues. She seems to have been truly terrific when she was young. According to Madame Pomfrey, she would have won overwhelmingly even against multiple Aurors in her prime. In the final battle at Hogwarts, she led an army to scatter the Death Eaters and finally showed astounding combat power by fighting the last boss, Voldemort, together with Kingsley and Slughorn. Hall of Fame, Headmaster Dumbledore. Dumbledore is less of a Hogwarts professor and more like the strongest man in the wizarding world. He defeated Grindelwald, who possessed the Elder Wand, in a duel. When he dueled Voldemort at the Department of Mysteries, he showed an otherworldly monstrosity by trapping him in water and suffocating him to the brink of death. Since he can capture 5 or 6 Death Eaters just by waving his wand, basically all troubles in the wizarding world can be solved if Dumbledore alone is present. As a result, until the Half-Blood Prince, where Dumbledore dies, he is basically driven far away by enemy schemes or out on business during important battles. The game balance is maintained by ensuring that he always joins the battle late,